This must be the place. Professor Oubier's house.
Looks pretty creepy. I'd been away from Paris and hadn't seen Nico for nearly 6 months. I wanted to celebrate our reunion, but she had other plans. An appointment with an archaeologist. Something to do with a Mayan stone she came across while researching the story. The guy who answered the door didn't look much like an archaeologist to me. I had a bad feeling about this. There were only 3 things I didn't like about spiders. The way they looked, the way they moved, and the fact that they lived on the same planet as me. This spider was big, mean, and hairy, and definitely not a native of Europe. I glanced over the books, vaguely hoping to find a copy of How to Deal with Poisonous Spiders While Tied to a Chair. No such luck. But I noticed one corner of the bookcase was supported by a loose block of wood. The bookcase was too big and heavy to move. The block of wood had been used to replace the original foot of the bookcase. Maybe I'd been a little heavy-handed, but it was a question of survival. Of course, I was still tied to a chair in a burning house with no means of escape. Yellow pus was seeping from below the bookcase. That spider was very squashed. I wasn't touching that spider goo. I thought that I ought to free myself before examining the furniture. The bookcase had been anchored to the wall by a protruding metal bracket. It had sheared off as the bookcase had fallen, leaving a jagged edge. With one mighty bound, our hero was free. Now, I had to deal with that fire. It was the chair I'd been tied to. I had no time to sit around. The rope was shredded and no possible use to me. The rope was shredded and no possible use to me. Even if I had the time, I wouldn't be able to get to the books beneath the heavy case. The bookcase had fallen on its front, making it impossible to reach the books inside. Oubier and his wife, I guess. Nice couple. The photograph wasn't any use to me. It was an oddly designed candle holder with a coil of metal shaped like a snake. Highly artistic, but of very little practical use. The bureau had a sliding lid. Inside, I found a bottle of tequila. It was a half bottle of extra strong Mexican tequila. Just what I needed under the circumstances. Normally, I didn't drink strong spirits, but today was far from normal. Ew. Disgusting. Not only did the tequila burn like hell, I just managed to stop myself from swallowing the worm. It was a half bottle of tequila. I'd drunk enough of that. What looked like a little shriveled wiener lay on the carpet. Thankfully, it was only the worm from the tequila bottle. Well, I wasn't going to eat it, but life had taught me one thing. No matter how unlikely it seems, the strangest objects have their uses. Even tequila worms. It was that itsy-bitsy tequila worm. I really must remember to take it out of my pants before I send them to the laundry. The bars attached to the window would prevent anyone getting in. They also stopped me from getting out. I wasn't going to get through those sturdy bars. It was a needle-sharp dart with a flight of green and yellow feathers. That dart was sharper than a mosquito's business end, but this didn't deter me from getting it anyway. It was the poisoned dart which had stunned Nico. I'd never known anything keep her quiet so effectively. It was the box that spider had crawled from. I wasn't going to touch the box after that spider had been inside it. It was a soda fountain, perfect for mixing with drinks or squirting at clowns. The fire had taken hold and ignited part of the polished wooden floorboards. I racked my brains to think of a way to improvise a fire extinguisher. If only I'd stopped for a coffee at the airport. The door blocked my only means of escape. The door blocked my only means of escape. There was no pressure in the siphon. I guess it was out of gas. In the cabinet's wooden door was a very small keyhole. The cabinet was locked. As I released the lock, something blew the doors open. It was a small cylinder which seemed to have exploded. I couldn't think of a use for a burst cylinder. It was a small metal cylinder. That cylinder was hot. I couldn't pick it up with my bare hands. It was Nico's bag. It was a stylish little canvas number containing a lipstick, a handwritten note, and a pair of nylon panties with a large love heart emblazoned across the front. It occurred to me that Nico's tastes must have really changed while I was away. Well, they could be useful. It was Nico's lipstick. It wasn't my color, and it reminded me of clowns. I guess I had no business reading the note, but I figured it might give me a clue to what Nico was involved in. It was from Andre Labanau, the history student Nico had known at college. The letter was sentimental mush, and revealed that the exotic lingerie, as he called it, was a gift from him. It gave his telephone number. Labanau figured himself as a rival for Nico's affections, but I couldn't believe that that creep was in the running. It was a pair of red, lace-trimmed panties decorated with a large black satin heart. I'd already ransacked Nico's handbag, and besides which, the color didn't suit me. panties I'd found in Nico's bag were just what I needed to wrap around the hot cylinder. It was a small metal cylinder with a valve at one end. The cylinder gave out a faint hiss as the valve opened. What? Now I had one primed up and ready to use extinguisher. With a well-aimed squirt of his soda fountain, our unshakable hero saved the day. Now it was time to start looking for Nico. I wasn't going to burn myself on that red-hot doorknob, and it wasn't the time for subtlety. It was a folded clipping taken from a newspaper. I'd found a piece of newspaper folded in two. It referred to a forthcoming eclipse of the sun. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be visible from Europe. The best place to view the eclipse would be Mexico. It was Hubier's telephone. Much as I disliked him, Labano might be my only hope of finding Nico. Hi, Andre?
Who is this?
It's George Stobart, Nico's boyfriend.
Don't you mean ex-boyfriend?
Look, I didn't call you just to pick a fight. I need to talk to you about Nico.
Can't you accept she's just not interested in you?
Listen, Andre, we need to talk. Nico's life depends on it.
Okay. You remember the cafe at Montfaucon?
Sure. Andre? You'd better show, you creep. I felt an irrational urge to wipe my ear. There was no one else I wanted to call. The door led to some other part of Hubier's mansion. It was locked. The front door was made of hard wood, supported by a sturdy frame. The door was locked. I didn't fancy my chances of kicking this door down. It was the newspaper clipping referring to the imminent eclipse. Wrapped inside it was another small piece of paper. It was a bank statement for Hubier's account from an automatic telling machine. The last 5 withdrawals were for large amounts, and all made in Marseille. It was Hubier's bank statement. The tiny point was only of use for picking small locks. It was locked. The tiny point was only of use for picking small locks. The front door was... It was Hubier's telephone. The cabinet was already open. It was a closed drawer. In the drawer was a small decorated pot. The pot contained a key. It looked like a house key. I unlocked the door. I wasn't looking forward to meeting Labano again, but he was my only link with Nico. There was no sign of Labano when I got to the cafe. I decided to order a coffee and wait for him. I had no desire to go down into the sewers. The man at the next table looked somehow familiar. Pardon me, but don't I know you?
Huh?
You were here the day I found the catacombs.
I was? Ah, yes. I remember you.
Yeah. Are you still in the police force?
No, not anymore. I'm a man of leisure. And what brings you back to Paris?
My girlfriend.
What it is to be young and in love. Will you share a bottle of wine with me?
Hey, listen, I'd love to, but I need to keep a clear head.
So my company isn't good enough for you.
Tell me what you make of this note.
From my years of experience, I gained a pretty good insight into handwriting. I'd say that note was written by a compulsive, obsessive type with an Oedipus complex.
Hey, you've got just about everything apart from the ponytail. What do you make of this news cutting?
Orphanage supplied fast food chain?
No, it's the article above that.
Oh! Total eclipse of the sun. Well, that's very dull in comparison. I don't know anything about eclipses.
What do you make of this dart?
I remember a case where the victim was killed with just such a device. The poison acted in seconds, causing his body to swell up like an inflatable life raft.
Have you ever heard of a Professor Oubier?
No, monsieur. I don't recall the name.
Well, apparently he's an expert on Mayan art and history.
A little out of my field of experience, monsieur. If he'd been a serial killer or a sodomite, I might have been able to help.
Why did you leave the police?
I was forced to retire. The golden handshake. Only in my case, it was more copper than gold.
How come?
I was made a scapegoat to cover up the department's inefficiencies.
The ex-gendarme showed no effects from the wine he was pouring down his throat. It was a small silver flask from which the man was topping up his glass. I couldn't snatch the man's flask while he was looking. The man was still looking. The man was still looking. The man was still looking. It was too hot to sit inside the cafe. Besides, I might miss Labino. Oh, garçon. He ignored me. I'm sure it was deliberate. He wouldn't have wanted that. What's that you're drinking?
It's wine.
He wouldn't have wanted that. That isn't it at all. No, that's wrong. Hey, you.
Quoi?
I'd like a cup of coffee if you don't mind.
When I finish serving this gentleman. Un café.
Thanks. Look at this. A poison dart.
Ah oui, sure.
It's the real thing. Knocked my girlfriend out cold in a matter of seconds.
Romantic. Sounds like a real close relationship you have going.
Do you know that man over there?
I should think so. He's a regular customer.
Have you heard of Professor Oubier?
Oui. He married that actress, the little dachshund. They used to come here. The nutty professor and the movie star.
If Oubier's wife was a movie star, how come I never heard of her?
She was big in France. The world doesn't stop at Hollywood. Her stage name was Carol Climax. She died in suspicious circumstances.
How did Oubier's wife die?
I heard he shot her.
And got away with it?
He had a good lawyer and a watertight alibi.
Why would an eminent public figure like Oubier risk everything for murder?
He wouldn't be the first, would he? Besides, people like him always get off.
Do you know a guy called André Lobineau?
Oui, I know him. What of it?
I'm supposed to meet him here. Did I miss him?
No, I have not seen him today.
What does that guy keep pouring out of his flask?
Absinthe.
Absinthe? I thought that was highly dangerous and outlawed in France.
It is. Don't look at me, I didn't sell it to him.
That's all.
Thank you.
Well, well, this is a surprise, Georgie.
I wouldn't normally call you. But Nico's in trouble, Andre. Deep trouble. You have to help me find her.
What? What have you dragged her into this time?
It was you that recommended Professor Oubier as an expert on Mayan art. Now his butler has kidnapped her, and he tried to kill me.
Every time she gets involved with you, there is trouble. Walking out on her was the best thing you could do.
My father was dying, damn it. I had no choice.
Well, she soon recovered once she went back to her old friends.
Drop it, Andre. Right now, Nico's in danger, and we have to work together.
So, how can I help?
Nico needed to speak to Oubier about a stone.
Oh, you mean this stone?
So that's what all the trouble's about.
Precisely. Nicole told me to guard it with my life.
Well, it's worth more than that, surely.
Oh, very funny.
What's funny is that your life really is on the line.
What are you talking about?
The stone is a Mayan artifact, dummy. And the guy who kidnapped Nico was from Central America. It was the stone they were after.
Oh my god, you mean I could be in danger too?
Take a look at this, Andre.
It's a bank statement?
Yeah, Professor Hubier's account. 5 large cash withdrawals in the space of 3 days, all from an automatic teller in Marseille. Suspicious, isn't it?
You're even more crazy than you were before.
What can you tell me about this pot?
South or Central American, I'd say. I have a friend who'd be able to tell you more.
Where can I find this guy?
He owns a gallery on the left bank, the Gliese Gallery.
What do you think this is, Andre?
I don't know.
I'll give you a clue. It's got more backbone than you.
You think you're amusing, don't you?
Does Hubier employ a guy from Central America?
Maybe. I don't know.
You never been to his house? I thought you guys were pals.
Fellow academics, Georgie. It's not quite the same thing.
Why didn't Nico take the stone to Hubier?
I don't know. Perhaps she suspected something like this would happen.
If she's been hurt, Andre, I'll break every bone in your body.
No, that's typical of you. Do you think I don't care what happens to Nicole?
It occurred to me that slugs don't have bones to break, but I kept that thought to myself. Tell me about your friend Hubier.
He's more of a professional acquaintance than a friend.
I see. So you don't really know him at all?
No, I don't.
What do you suppose the carving on the stone means?
I don't know. I haven't shown it to anyone.
Why don't you just give it to me?
I don't want your death on my conscience, George.
Where did Nico get the stone?
It was sent to her.
From where? Who?
I'm not sure I should tell you.
Oh, you should.
It was something to do with smuggling.
See you later.
Goodbye, Georgie.
I've had enough of your games, Kala. Tell me what you've done with my stone.
I thought your business was simply smuggling cocaine, Karzak. Why are you so interested in that stone?
Either you tell me what I want to know, or Pablo here will make you talk.
Okay. Well, I figured someone at the university would be able to help. So I had a word with one of my girlfriends, and she told me her boyfriend was a lecturer. I sent the stone to the Department of Ethnology. You know, I figured it was South American, so... You're not buying this, are you?
That's enough! I don't have time to listen to your mindless prattle. We'll leave you to think it over. Come the morning, you'll be ready to talk.
I'm trying to find my girlfriend. She's been kidnapped.
Kidnapped?
Yeah, it was our first day back together after many months.
That's too bad. My God, that's depressing.
I grabbed the flask and was struck by a powerful smell of absinthe, a highly potent and illegal alcoholic drink. Excuse me.
What?
I've been looking forward to seeing my girl, but she wanted to rush off to see some professor.
I see. And you think she's having an affair with this professor?
Look, forget it. It doesn't matter. Ever heard of Carol Climax, the movie star?
Yes, but I don't care for the kind of movie she's made. It's smut like that which has caused the moral decline of the Western world.
Is it true that Carol Climax was murdered by her husband?
First I heard of it. I thought she just retired.
Do you miss being a gendarme?
Yes, of course I do. When I wore that uniform, I commanded respect. Not anymore.
Excuse me.
Leave me alone.
You need anything else?
There was nothing I wanted to say to him. Now I had another lead. I could either go back to Ubier's house or visit the Glee's gallery. It was locked. The house key didn't fit this lock. There was no one else I wanted to call. I had a choice of destinations, the cafe at Montfaucon or the art gallery. The Glee's gallery had style and class, but very few customers. I couldn't believe it. The pots were marked at 5,000 francs each. As far as I could tell, the pots were almost identical to the one I'd found in Ubier's house. At that price, I wasn't going anywhere near those pots. The wasteland. Too minimalistic for too much money. The wasteland. Looked like a witch and a headless bust. I had seen better. I didn't think much of any of these artifacts. Pots. The pots were protected by a glass case. Rectangles in a desolate landscape, highly cubist. He was a pear-shaped guy with a fine display of multiple chins. The girls were in a world of their own. Hi, girls. What's the joke?
Andate guaquirete, Disney.
Okay, fine. If I wanted to be laughed at, there was always Nico. Pots, and more. Spheres in a barren waste. Oh, very profound. I could see a pattern emerging in this artist's work. It was a sturdy packing case.
Excuse me, sir.
Uh-huh.
That area is private.
Oh, so I'm not allowed back here?
No, sir.
It was a machine for reading credit cards. He looked like an older version of Labano, the same supercilious expression, the same disdain in his eyes, and the same damned ponytail. He was a pear-shaped guy with a fine display. Are you Mr. Glees, the owner?
Good God, no.
Then I guess that must be him over there, right?
Your powers of deductive reasoning astound me.
Would you give me your opinion on this pot, sir?
Yes, very rapuche.
Rapuche?
Hideous.
What the hell do you think you're doing? You smashed my pot.
Certainly, it was not only worthless, it was ugly and offensive.
To you, maybe.
Believe me, I was doing you a favor.
What's that you're drinking?
I'm not sure, but I have a suspicion it might be urine. Glees can't expect a favorable criticism of his gallery when he serves this muck.
That pot you smashed belonged to Professor Oubier.
Did it really? I thought the man had more taste.
What's the difference between my pot and all those other pots?
Yours is broken.
Why, you smug, pompous sloth.
Sticks and stones, dear boy, sticks and stones.
I wasn't going to waste any more breath talking to that pompous blimp. Maybe I could turn the situation to my advantage, and at the same time, get my revenge. I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Certainly, sir. I'd be most happy to oblige.
You're English?
These days one prefers to think of oneself as European.
Sure. Whatever you say.
And how precisely may one assist you, sir?
I found this news story referring to a total eclipse of the sun.
Really, sir? Well, fascinating.
I have some questions I'd like to ask about those pots.
The Mexican collection? Certainly, sir.
Where did you get them from?
Mexico, of course. I think, sir, we'll find the price extremely reasonable.
Hey, I'm not interested in buying them.
Oh, I see. In that case, you'll excuse me.
There is a gentleman over there who seems to be enjoying your wine.
I can't think why. It was very cheap.
Do you get many Central American Indians in here?
No, sir. This is Paris. Central America is several thousand kilometers southwest of here. Straight across the Atlantic Ocean and turn left. You can't miss it.
Well, as it happens, I saw some Central American Indians this very morning.
Tourists, sir. Paris is full of them at this time of year.
Have you heard of Professor Oubier?
Of course. His name is synonymous with Mayan art. A number of these artifacts were supplied by Oubier himself.
I suppose you have an import license for these relics?
Of course. But that's not my problem, sir. The professor arranges all the shipping. We simply collect the items from the docks.
Could you tell me which docks Professor Oubier uses to import the artifacts?
Good God, no. I can't possibly reveal my commercial secrets.
Do you believe the story that Oubier murdered his wife?
If it was true, who can blame him? She was an opportunist tramp. Well, that's what I heard.
Have you seen any of Oubier's wife's films?
Only one. Believe me, I was appalled, shocked, disgusted, and repulsed.
Well, you sure got your money's worth. Last time I went to the movies, I wasn't even titillated. What I really wanted to ask you about was a black stone.
A black stone?
Yeah, it's a Mayan artifact, about as big as my hand.
No, sir, one doesn't get much call for black stones. If it's Mayan artifacts you're interested in, I have some rather exquisite pots.
So did I, until that slob smashed it. I splashed a little absinthe into the glass and hoped he wouldn't notice the change of color.
Did you put something in my drink?
Yeah, I did. Well, what do you think?
Well, it's certainly an improvement over Glee's wine. In fact, I could grow to like it.
Allow me. Were those pots very valuable?
The pots are insured, but not the shelving. You've no idea how much that cost me.
I wasn't going to waste my breath on that drunkard. There was nothing worth retrieving from the mess. Fragments of priceless pots lay shattered on the floor. Glees wasn't happy, I could tell. Glees wasn't... Glees... He was out for the count.
Go away.
If I wanted to be laughed at, there was... I could either go back to Ubier's. It was a sturdy packing case. There was nothing in the case but styrofoam packing, but pasted on the side was the remains of a label. Underneath the logo of a flying bird were the words Condor Transglobal Mars. The rest of the label was missing. It was beginning to make sense. Ubier had organized Nico's abduction. Ubier withdrew money from Marseille. Ubier was connected with Transglobal, who shipped their goods from a warehouse in Marseille. That's how the torn Transglobal label had once read. Marseille, not Mars. It wasn't much of a lead, but it was all I had. I set off immediately to catch the evening train. It was almost dawn when I arrived in Marseille. I traced Condor Transglobal to a desolate dockside. A chain-link fence barred the entrance to the docks.
What's the big idea?
I don't know. The dog went berserk for no apparent reason.
He's trained to do that. The idea is to deter any would-be intruder.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just remember, he's a trained attack dog. A killer.
It was a mean-looking guard dog. Here, boy. Here, boy. Here, boy. Here, boy.
Didn't I tell you to stay away from the fence?
I was nowhere near it. It's that dog. He's crazy.
Hey, mind what you say. He's sensitive to negative criticism.
A shabby old overcoat hung from a peg near the door. I couldn't reach the coat. The spike held a stack of papers which appeared to be shipping documents. None of them referred to Condor Transglobal.
Ouch! Gotcha! That'll learn you to leave things alone. Do you know what time it is?
No, I don't wear a watch. As my dad used to say, I'm not into time, man.
Well, you're too early.
Take a look at this letter.
That's sick. Did you write it?
Oh, no. No, it's a letter from my girlfriend's admirer.
If I was you, I'd smack him in the mouth.
Well, that's not my style, but thanks for the advice. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
No, pal, what is it?
A poison dart used for hunting.
What would you hunt with that? Mice?
No, monkeys and stuff. The tip is dipped in poison.
Hey, what you got against monkeys?
I love monkeys. I was just using them as an example.
Well, don't.
I have these very exotic panties.
Take them away, you pervert!
What's cooking?
Beans. You know a man can live on nothing but beans.
Not this one. Don't you ever get tired of eating beans?
Sure I do. What do you take me for?
And what's the alternative?
Peas. I can't eat them too often, though. They play hell with my digestion.
Have you ever considered changing your diet?
What's wrong with beans and beer?
You need me to tell you? You're pumping out enough methane here to fill a dirigible. Have you ever heard of Professor Oubier?
Me? None of my friends are professors or anything like that.
I'm looking for a young woman.
At the docks? What kind of woman do you have in mind?
You don't understand. It's my girlfriend I'm trying to find.
Well, I ain't seen her, and you should tell her the docks ain't no place for a young lady. They're dirty and they're dangerous.
I'm certain my girlfriend was brought here when she was abducted.
What? Your girl was kidnapped?
Yeah, struck down by an Indian with a poisoned dart.
Like the one you showed me?
The very same. I could tell he didn't believe me. Ever heard of Condor Transglobal?
Sure. They have a warehouse here.
Well, could I take a look?
Not until after the holidays. Come back in a month.
I have to make a delivery to Condor Transglobal.
Where's your rig?
About half a mile down the road.
And you walked here? Jeez, are you some kind of nut?
Nah, it was easy. I just put one foot in front of the other. Are you gonna let me make my delivery?
Not without the paperwork. You get the papers, you make your delivery, and I get a fat backhander.
I was getting nowhere with the story about being a trucker. Do you know what kind of business Condor's involved in?
I'm paid to guard the gate. Their business is none of mine.
Does that dog belong to you?
Nah, he comes with the job. I just feed him every now and then.
More then than now, I'd say. What's the dog's name?
20.
It's unusual for a dog.
It's his registration number. Security dog number 20.
Does number 20 have rabies?
Nah, just a bad attitude. Like I said, he's a trained attack dog. They took him when he was a puppy and messed with his head to make him the way he is.
What time is it anyhow?
The big hand's on the 4. Why aren't you in bed?
I can explain everything.
Never mind, I ain't that interested.
What time do you open the gates?
7.
Do you mind if I hang out here till the docks open?
Please yourself, but you'll have a long wait. It's Sunday, and tomorrow is the start of the national holiday. Everything is closed for a month.
Well, wouldn't you just know it? I gotta go now, but I'll be back.
Can't wait.
The chimney was a metal pipe with a conical hat on top to stop the rain getting in.
Ouch! That's hot.
A short stick of wood floated near the edge of the landing stage. The stick had a hook on one end. I figured it was a boat hook for hooking boats. It was a short wooden-handled boat hook. It was the letter to Nico from that creep Labano. Sickening. Bobbing up and down in the oily water was the watchman's discarded beer bottle. The bottle was just out of reach. Nothing was going to get me into that water if I could help it.
Excuse me?
Huh? Who's there?
Hello?
It was a packet with a picture of a boxer dog on the front. It was a box of blank forms. I couldn't reach that far. I couldn't reach the packet. Something was bubbling in the watchman's saucepan. I couldn't reach that far. It was a large bucket filled with coal. I couldn't reach the bucket. It was an old iron stove, which heated the hut and the watchman's dinner. I couldn't reach that far. It was the door which led to the docks on the other side of the fence. I couldn't reach the door without climbing into the room. I couldn't reach the coat.
Hello?
I just knew that boat hook would be useful for something. As for the bottle, even if I couldn't find a use for it, I'd cleaned up the dock a little. It was the beer bottle that slob of a watchman had dumped in the sea, now half full of filthy dock water. The label read, "Surge, the beer that clears your head." Hey, 20. Hey, 20. Hey, 20. Hey, 20. The guard dog was staring at me with a hungry look in his eyes. The panties would not have been thick enough. The bottle was half filled with water. Maybe it would cool the cone down enough to touch it. Now I could see into the pipe which formed the chimney. It was the metal cone I'd taken from the chimney of the watchman's hut. The bottle had blocked the chimney, and the hut was filling up with smoke.
Is something wrong?
Something wrong? I nearly choked to death.
Why don't you get some air? Take a long walk along the pier. I could stay here and watch the gate.
Oh, no. You'd be through that gate as soon as my back was turned.
With that crazy dog around? Someday I hope to have kids. Are you sure you'll be all right?
Yeah, the smoke is clearing already.
Are you sure you'll be all right?
Yeah.
I couldn't climb the fence while the watchman was looking. I wouldn't have considered wearing it if it had been the last coat on Earth. The box contained nothing but blank forms. The box baked beans in ketchup. Someone had once told me a piece of coal brought you luck. Who was I to argue with irrational superstition? The packet was full of dog biscuits.
Hello?
Hey, 20. Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy. Hey, 20. My arms weren't... Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy. I felt a slight twinge of conscience as I prepared to give the dog a dunking. It soon passed. As I'd expected, the dog could swim like a dog. Do you recognize this metal cone?
Say, that's just like the Tin Man wore. You know, the Wizard of Oz.
I'd have never taken you for a fan of Dorothy and Toto.
That dumb kid? She ruined the whole damn thing for me, all that singing and stuff. Anyhow, she wasn't even a real kid. They stuffed her in a corset so her titties didn't show.
Let me in and I'll give you this lump of coal.
I got plenty of coal already. You always carry it around in your pocket?
I heard it was lucky.
Superstitious crap. I got a whole bucket of it in here and it ain't brought me no luck.
What's the problem with the stove?
I don't know. Damn flue seems to be blocked.
Maybe some bird built a nest in the chimney.
Huh?
A gull, maybe, or an albatross.
Albatross my ass. That chimney's too hot. What's wrong with your hand?
In my hand? Oh, friction burns.
Friction burns?
Yeah, I slid down a rope.
You don't want to make a habit of that, pal.
See you later. It read Pont de Nord, fine wine producers. I didn't recognize the label. The clamp was held in a mechanism which forced its jaws open. I decided not to tamper with the clamp. Those jaws looked like they could snap shut at any moment. The doors looked 100 years old, but they were still very sturdy. A sturdy chain and padlock hung around the door handles. It was a beautiful piece of 19th century engineering, but not a lot of use to me. I couldn't reach the wheel and couldn't see any point in climbing up to it. The sign looked as if it was firmly attached to the wall. Anyway, the sign looked... It read, Pont de Nord, fine wine producers. The doors looked 100 years old. A sturdy chain. It read, Condor Transglobal. I'd come to the right place. Now all I had to do was get inside. This sign also looked firmly attached to the wall. That door seemed to be the only way into the warehouse. The din must have drowned out the sound of my knocking. The ladder led up to a walkway which stretched the length of the building. Maybe there was a way in up there. The window wasn't fully shut. A fine old oak barrel. was a duct from a ventilation fan. The metal housing prevented me from getting to the fan. It was a powerful fan. It was the creep who'd kidnapped Nico, and I had a score to settle. The guy was partly hidden behind a stack of crates. I wouldn't have been hurt over the din of the fan. I wouldn't have been hurt. That did the trick. The fan clunked and shorted out as its blades were mashed by the boat hook.
Hey, you make any more noise, I break your arms.
That bully needed to be taught a lesson.
Garzak's already mad because we didn't get the stone. You give me any trouble, I'll tell him it was all your fault.
Karzak? That must be his boss. The boat hook was jammed in the dented fan blades. I decided there was a better way to attract their attention. I decided the room was filled with transglobal crates. Wrong, wrong, wrong. I decided there was a better I decided there was a better way to attract their attention.
Who is he?
My name is Stobart, George Stobart.
What do you want?
I want to return your spider. I pulled its legs off, which is exactly what I'm going to do to you. I got the feeling he wasn't too pleased to see me. No. 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 That door seemed... Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy. I felt a slight twinge of conscience as I prepared to give the dog a dunking. It soon passed. As I'd expected, the dog could swim like a dog. That did the trick. The fan clunked.
Hey, you make any more noise, I break your arms.
That bully needed to be taught a lesson.
Garzak's already mad because we didn't get the stone. You give me any trouble, I'll tell him it was all your fault.
Karzak? That must be his boss.
Who is it?
Police, we want to talk to you about abduction, arson, and attempted murder.
You got a warrant?
Sure, I got a warrant. Open the door, I'll show you.
You wait.
That's got him scared and angry. That was... The boat hook was... That wouldn't work. Hey.
What now?
My name is Stobart. George Stobart.
What do you want?
I've come for my girl.
No girls here.
Open up, creep. I got the feeling he wasn't too pleased to see me. The metal housing prevented... There was a small drawer in the desk. Knowing my luck, it was bound to be locked. The only interesting thing I found was a small brass key. Among the paperwork which adorned the notice board was something which caught my eye. It was a delivery note from Condor Transglobal, and the address was Coromante City. There was nothing else of any interest on the notice board. A filing cabinet. It was locked. It was locked. It was a small brass key. The little brass key didn't fit the lock. All the crates were firmly sealed. The room was... Whoa! Don't shoot! The little guy had a blowpipe. That confirmed my suspicions about what had happened to Nico. I waited for him to shoot me, but it didn't happen. Instead, he seemed to want to tell me something. What? What do you want? He seemed excited, almost desperate. What did he want so bad? The guy was partly... Hi, I'm not going to hurt you.
Quaramonte.
Is that where you're from? Coromante City?
Quaramonte! Quaramonte!
Okay. What does this key unlock?
Huh?
Hey, you're manacled. Who did this? That big thug? I'm gonna set you free, okay? Hey, come back here! The little guy had gone to ground amongst the stack of crates. It was an elevator to the upper floor. It was the button to call the elevator. I couldn't pry the doors up. There was usually a... Just in time. Interrupting the beam of light kept the doors from closing and stopped anyone from using the elevator. But what now? That would keep the doors from closing. I was wrestling with the small crate when I noticed the label on its side. Danger, live contents, do not drop. I didn't want to risk dropping the statue looked as if it was Central or South American in origin. The statue looked way too heavy for me to move. There wasn't much I could do with a pulley that didn't have any rope. It was a pulley attached to a long rail which ran the length of the building. It wasn't much use, though. No rope. I realized the doors must lead to a loading platform high above the dockside. A sturdy beam was jammed across the doors. These doors were not going to open. The window was not designed to open. There was no way to open that window. It was a hydraulic hand cart. There wasn't enough room to move the handle. No chance. Whatever those crates contained, they were heavy. An unmarked switch. Tempting. It was the elevator call button. Nothing happened. That was probably because the elevator was already on this floor. I noticed a faint mark on the wooden floor. There was an arc-shaped scratch on the floor, as if a door had been opened in the nearby wall. There didn't appear to be any difference in the paneling of this part of the wall. There didn't appear to... My fingers traced the outline of a secret door in the wall. Then I found a small round stud, which was set flush to the surrounding wooden paneling. Just as I'd hoped. A secret room. The hidden door led to a secret room. Nico! It was a grotesque little statue of a figure carrying a shield and a spear. Will you look at this? It was a small statue of a kneeling figure in an ornate headdress. The head was hideous, with huge staring eyes set in a decomposing face.
Hey! Somebody's marketing Lobino dolls.
Nico was trussed up like a chicken, but she didn't appear to be harmed. It was a short length of rope tied tightly around Nico's slim wrists. There, how are you feeling?
Oh, thanks, Georges. How on earth did you find me?
I knew Oubier had been in Marseille, But never mind about me. How about you tell me exactly what's going on, starting with that Mayan stone?
I picked it up from one of Karzak's men in Paris. I was expecting a consignment of narcotics.
Drugs?
Yes. The proof I needed to expose Karzak's smuggling operation. I'd set it up to act as his courier, and once I had the proof, I planned to go straight to Inspector Mou. But instead of the dope I'd expected, they sent me that stone instead. And to find out more, I called Professor Oubillet, who invited me to his mansion. At least, I thought it was Oubillet.
I don't get it. If Karzak's business is drugs, why is he so desperate to get his hands on that stone?
Maybe it has some significance to the local people in Central America. It could be Karzak's means of getting them to work for him. Anyway, we've got to get out of here.
Nico, wait! It was the masking tape that had been used on Nico. I decided to keep the masking tape. It was bound to be of some use to me. It was the rope the Indian had used to tie Nico to a chair. Boy, what a souvenir. It was a flint carving of a grotesque figure with large, evil eyes. It was the set of manacles I'd removed from the little Indian's ankles. It was the strip of masking tape which the big Indian had used to gag Nico. We can't use the elevator. If that thug Pablo's recovered, he'll be waiting for us.
We've got to do something. Where does that door lead to?
I'm not sure. It would be much easier to attach the rope to the statue first. The rope wasn't long enough to reach the pulley. The short chain stopped the cuffs reaching from the statue to the winch. There wasn't enough room to move the handle. I didn't want to risk dropping the crate and releasing its live contents. It was a device to prevent the elevator doors closing when they were obstructed. The pulley was useless. There wasn't much I could do. The rope wasn't long enough to reach the pulley. The short chain stopped the short chain. No chance. Whatever those crates contained, they were heavy. The rope was attached around. Look, the little guy downstairs was chained up with these.
That must have been Pablo's doing. I don't blame him, though. That little guy is dangerous.
You're still sore about that poison dart?
Of course I'm sore.
I found these in your bag.
Oh, they were a gift.
I know. I read the note.
God knows what was going through Andre's mind.
I think that's quite plain enough. Have you any idea who this little statue is supposed to be?
I'm not very well acquainted with Mayan deities, Georges. But whatever his name, he sure is ugly.
Do you recognize this?
Is that the dart which knocked me out?
That's right. I kept it as a souvenir. Did that Indian guy mistreat you?
If you forget about the abduction, verbal threats, and bondage, no.
Well, what about the little guy?
I don't think he knows where he is or what he's doing here. The big guy, Pablo, he brought Titipoco from the jungle.
Titty what?
Titipoco. That's what I heard Pablo call the dwarf.
Did I hear you refer to Inspector Moo?
Yes, you remember him?
Of course I do. But I thought he was dead.
Oh no, he reappeared after the broken sword case had blown over. When he found out who was in with the Neo-Templars, he went into hiding. Moo knew more than was good for him.
Does he know about our involvement with the case?
If he does, he's not telling. Still, he got a sudden promotion.
Did you know Oubier's wife was a film star?
No, I didn't know he was married. What happened to her?
She died. In mysterious circumstances, apparently.
How mysterious?
I heard she was murdered. Possibly by Oubier himself.
A murderer, huh? André said he was something of a celebrity.
Tell me about this Karzak guy.
Well, I saw him for only a few minutes, but he frightened me. I got the impression that Pablo was nervous when he was around too. His eyes, they're like a wild animal's, like a tiger. That's what scared me most about him. He looked so unpredictable and dangerous.
Okay, tell me what you know about Condor.
Condor Transglobal exports Aztec and Mayan relics from Central America to Europe. But that's just a cover for the real business. Drug smuggling.
What proof do you have?
Nothing yet.
Do you know where Condor is based?
In Central America. A place called Quaramonte.
I saw that name on a docket downstairs. I couldn't move the crate until I blocked the light beam with something else. Hopefully, the tape would prevent those doors from closing and stop the Indian from being able to call the elevator. The pallet rose about 6 inches off the floor, and I said a silent prayer to whoever had discovered the power of hydraulics.
What on earth are you doing?
Trying to raise the statue so I can hook it to that pulley.
Is that really going to help us?
I like to keep myself occupied in times of stress. There was nothing else I wanted to talk to Nico about at that time. It was too heavy for me to move on my own. Could you give me a hand to push this statue?
What for?
This, my dear, is our passport to freedom.
If you say so, dear.
Okay, push! Great teamwork.
Nice to be working with you again, Mr. Stobart.
There was nothing. A cable stretched way out across the docks to a building in the distance. I thought about hanging from the cable with my bare hands, but it was too far to the other end of the cable to escape that way. Nico, I have a great idea.
George, where have you been?
Never mind that. Do you have the Mayan stone?
Maybe I have, but,
Don't argue, André. Give the stone to George.
well, of course, if you say so, Nicole.
Thank you so much, André.
George, he told me you'd been kidnapped, my dear. I'm glad to see he was mistaken.
Oh, but it was true. If it hadn't been for George, I wouldn't be here now.
It's not finished yet. Karzak's thugs will be back for that stone, you can bet. The best lead that we have is Caramonte City.
Caramonte is in Central America. That's where Ubier gets his artifacts.
That's all we needed to know. Come on, George.
Quaramonte, the traveler's rear entrance to Central America. Well, that's how it was translated in the brochure. We didn't know what we were looking for, but the offices of Condor Transglobal seemed a good place to start.
Hey, it's market day. I don't see any cabs. Let's ask someone how to get to Quaramonte City.
Okay. Keep your eyes peeled for any sign of Condor Transglobal. The guy wasn't showing much enthusiasm selling his wares. The old woman was preparing a food that consisted of ground maize and lots of spittle. The man was puffing away at a crudely rolled cigar. It was an uninteresting little wooden hut with an armed goon outside it. The woman had an impressive display of gourds. Hi.
You wanna buy something?
No, not really.
I got cabbages. Buy a cabbage, senor.
I don't think so. I didn't come all this way to buy vegetables. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Aye, Tezcatlipoca. Put it away, senor. Tezcatlipoca brings nothing but evil.
The poor guy was so freaked, he didn't even mention his cabbages. Listen, have you heard of Condor Transglobal?
No. Buy a cabbage. I'll give you a discount on bulk purchases.
I'm not into cabbages. See ya. Hi. Lovely bread.
¿Qué?
Bread, pan?
Sí, pan.
Maybe I'll come back later when I'm hungry. Do you recognize the logo on this label?
Condor Transglobal? Yes, I've seen it somewhere before.
Here in Quaramonte?
Maybe, but it could have been on TV. I don't remember.
Do you recognize this statue?
Por Dios, put it away. You will bring bad luck to Quaramonte.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hi there. What have you got for sale?
¿Qué?
I said, what have you got? Oh, never mind. That guy just didn't look like he was going to help me. It was an armed guard looking...
Welcome to Quaramonte.
Thanks. Can we get a cab to the capital?
This is the capital, Quaramonte City.
When's the next ship out of here?
But, senor, don't you like our beautiful country?
Oh, yeah. It's like a little piece of paradise right here on Earth.
Then why you wanna leave?
I'm just plain homesick. Like it says in the song.
A word of warning, senor. If you feel like bursting into song, bite your tongue.
Huh?
There are official restrictions on music in Quaramonte.
How come music is restricted in Quaramonte?
It is part of a great cultural enrichment campaign. Traditional Quaramonte music is considered unsuitable for these fast-moving times. Nuestra Señora has decreed that only one category of music is suitable.
What's that?
Easy listening.
We've had enough. We're going back to the ship.
Okay. You show me your brown card?
Huh? What brown card is that?
The official exit visa. You can't leave without an exit visa.
It looked to me like an early portrait of Orson Welles. In Quaramonte, defacing a poster was probably a capital offense. Now, I like most animals, but experience had made me wary of goats, and cats, and dogs. What was that? It's a lump of lucky coal. Coal? I would have preferred chocolate. Any flavor, so long as it hasn't got marzipan in it. God, I hate marzipan. You can talk. I mean, you're a talking goat. Keep your voice down. This is between you and me, right? Well, I guess so. Now, I mean it. You tell anyone you've spoken to me, and you'll be cursed. The guy was selling fish. Do you have crabs?
No, only fish.
Nice fish.
Thanks.
If by some remote chance I ever need a fish, I'll be back. Do you recognize this statue?
Si, senor. It is very, very bad luck. That is Tezcatlipoca, Night Hunter.
I know, but I don't believe in luck, good or bad.
You may not now, but you will.
The guy looked scared out of his wits.
Go away. Go away.
A couple of musicians stood watching life go on around them. They looked pretty depressed. Hey, cheer up, guys. What's with the long faces?
Our pipe player has been arrested and thrown in jail.
Poor Miguel. He never broke the law in his life.
Do you guys know anything about a total eclipse?
What is it?
It's like when the sun is hidden by the moon.
He's crazy.
My cousin Alfredo swears he saw it happen once. But that was after he stupidly consumed a cocktail of peyote and antibiotics.
Take a look at the design on this label.
I have seen that before.
Where?
There was a ship flying a flag just like that.
When did you see this ship?
3 months ago. It was here, at the docks.
What do you make of this little worm?
No good. It's dead.
Sure it's dead. You think I'd carry it around in my pocket if it wasn't? Have you seen anything like...
I, the hungry chief.
Why are you carrying that thing around with you, senor? Don't you know who it is?
Sure, it's Tezcatlipoca. But it's only a little carving.
It brings death, senor. Death and destruction.
Have you any idea what this is?
No, senor.
Me neither.
Why don't you try playing a tune to cheer yourselves up?
No, we should be looking for real jobs.
We could earn 10 times as much down the mines. My cousin Ramirez was earning 8 pesos an hour.
Before he lost his legs in the accident.
Would either of you guys care for a biscuit?
A dog biscuit, senor?
Are you trying to insult us?
No, really, they're good.
We'll take your word for it.
Tell me about the accident at the mine.
There was an explosion at Teoculcan. 30 miners were buried alive.
They got some of them out, though.
2 of them, including your cousin, and they left half of him behind.
Why was Miguel put in jail?
For playing folk music.
What?
It's true, senor. He insisted on playing traditional Guaramonte music, even though it's illegal.
What was the ship with the condor flag carrying?
I don't know, senor. We weren't allowed near the docks.
That's right. Usually we meet the ships when they tie up.
We play to the tourists.
Well, when the condor ship came in, we were told to go away.
It was Nico, wearing clothes I'd never seen before. Do you have any theories about this stone?
I think that design represents a dog, a Mexican dog.
So, this is the sacred Chihuahua stone? Sheesh. Take a look at this.
Mon Dieu! Where did you get that kind of money?
It's not mine. I found that statement at Ubier's house. Take a look at this.
An eclipse of the sun. Why the sudden interest in astronomy?
I found the cutting in Ubier's house.
Apparently, it's only visible from Central America.
Take a look at this, Nico.
That's disgusting, George. Why are you carrying it around with you?
I don't know. I just can't seem to part with it. Guess what this is? Go on, guess.
It's wrought iron, probably from a chimney stack on an old stove.
Well, I suppose it could be. How did she know that?
My grandfather used to work in a foundry.
Would you like a biscuit?
Gourmet dog? Have you been eating those things, Georges?
Sure, they're great. Labano tells me he's been seeing a lot of you.
We meet sometimes for lunch, a drink. After you'd gone back to the States, I was pretty lonely, you know.
Lonely? You must have been desperate. Couldn't you just visit the zoo or something?
George Stobart, well, of all the...
Mrs. Henderson. Boy, this is some coincidence, huh?
When you've been married to a fruitcake like Dwayne as long as I have, you stop believing in coincidence.
I'd met Pearl and Dwayne on the other side of the globe in Syria. He was an Army veteran who suspected he was working for the CIA, but wasn't sure. She was less obviously deranged. Take a look at this news cutting, Pearl.
You'll have to read it to me, George. I left my specs in a gay bar in Santa Barbara.
Well, it's about an eclipse of the sun, which is due to occur in a few weeks' time.
You'd think the government would warn us about these kind of things.
It's not dangerous or anything. Apparently, the best place to view the eclipse is right here in Quaramonte.
Oh, my.
She didn't appear to be the slightest bit interested. Look at this, Pearl. A tequila worm.
Don't you bring that thing anywhere near me, honey. I swear I'll scream like a hog on a hot plate.
What do you make of this statue, Pearl?
Hoo-wee, that's a spitting image of Dwayne's brother Sheridan. A little less body hair, maybe, but it's him all right.
What does this mean to you, Pearl?
What cute little feathers. Why, if you had two of those, they'd sure make nice earrings.
This isn't intended for frivolous personal adornment, Pearl. It's a dart, tipped with a fast-acting, muscle-numbing poison.
Pardon me, I stand corrected, honey.
Sometimes I got the feeling that communication with Pearl was like sending signals out into space. Maybe, if you waited long enough, you'd get an intelligent answer back. But it was a long shot. What do you make of this stone, Pearl?
Oh, that's pretty. What's that thing supposed to be, a rabbit?
I believe it's a coyote.
Well, it sure is cute.
I was surprised she didn't ask me where she could buy one. What brings you to Quaramonte, Pearl?
What takes me just about anywheres. The market.
You drove 2,000 miles to go shopping?
Shopping is my role in the economy of the great design, George.
Is Dwayne here with you, Mrs. Henderson?
Why, sure, I couldn't leave him home alone. Since Dwayne came back from the war, we couldn't bear to be apart.
So, where is he now?
We ain't speaking.
Why aren't you speaking to Dwayne?
Because he's an old spoil sport sourpuss. I want to visit one of those old pyramid places, but Dwayne says he has to stay in town.
Right, and you don't want to go on your own.
Well, there's no point in going to the pyramid if there's no one around to take my picture.
Is Dwayne still working for the CIA?
If he is, he doesn't know it. He's what they call a snoozer.
Don't you mean a sleeper?
No, this is different. He used to think he worked for them, but the psychotherapy cured him of that. What he doesn't realize is that now he really does work for them. At least that's the way I understood it.
Catch you later, Pearl. It was one of the windows of the jail. The cell was vacant. It was one of the cell windows. There was a forlorn-looking guy asleep on the floor of the jail. It was Miguel, the pipe player. Hey, Miguel! He didn't hear me. It was a beat-up old wreck of an army truck. Stealing trucks wasn't my style. It was Pearl's husband, Dwayne. Hey, Mr. Anderson. Good to see you again.
Do I know you, son?
George Stobart, remember? In Syria? I sold you a statue.
I remember that. Pearl was mighty vexed when the paint came off.
Look, I'm sorry. I'll give you back the $50.
No, you suckered me fair and square.
What do you think of these panties, Dwayne?
Lord, hot stuff, George. You buy those for your girl?
No, a guy we knew in Paris bought them for her.
Oh, you're a threesome then. Why are you looking at me like that, George?
Forget it. Do you know anything about a shipping company called Condor Transglobal?
Sure I do. You have to get up pretty early to catch Dwayne with his pants down.
What? You beat me to it?
Condor Transglobal is all wound up. Seems like my investigations scared them off.
Would you like to borrow my lucky piece of coal, Dwayne?
What's so lucky about it?
Well, we made it to Quaramonte in one piece.
When you've been here a few days, you won't look on that as luck.
Would you like a biscuit, Dwayne?
Oh no, those gourmet dog snacks bring me out in a rash.
You've tried them?
They were on special offer. Pearl bought a whole crate. When I asked her if she was thinking of keeping a dog too, she just laughed.
Did you drive all the way down here?
Hell no. Pearl did the driving while I followed the maps. The way she handled the wheel, you'd think she'd been trucking half her life.
Why did you bring a huge truck like that?
George, I'm on a top-secret classified mission for Uncle Sam. This truck is a rolling bomb. 400 pounds of nitrate fertilizer with a plastique initiator. They'll hear the bang in China. Gee, I'm really looking forward to this.
I spoke to Pearl earlier.
Yeah? Did she mention that we had a kind of falling out?
Yes, she did.
She'll get over it.
Did you know that traditional music is illegal in Quaramonte?
Is that so? Seems reasonable to me.
No, really. The leader of the band in the square has been imprisoned just because of the music he played.
I don't know who you've been talking to, but that fella, Miguel, he's an agitator.
What's the real reason the musician was imprisoned?
Handed out subversive literature at the mines. That so-called general was waiting for Miguel when he got back into town. Marched him off to jail at gunpoint on a charge of inciting a riot.
Are you still working for... you know who?
You know I can't talk about my work, George. That's between me and Uncle Sam.
Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Sounds like a comic book villain to me, son.
He's the man behind Condor, and the rat who kidnapped Nico.
You know, the first time I met you, I was deeply impressed with your naive simplicity. I said to Pearl, if we ever had kids, I would have wanted a boy like George. But I underestimated you, son.
He was a friendly-looking guy. Hi, I'm George Stobart. What do you think of these panties?
Awesome. You wear them?
No. Someone sent them to my girlfriend.
Thoughtful.
Have you heard about the eclipse of the sun?
Sure, I'm having a party to celebrate it. Drop by.
Really?
Sure. Plenty of food, plenty of wine, and everyone's invited, except the general.
Do you know what this statue represents?
Should do. I used to carve things like that to sell to tourists. But it scared people around here, so I stopped.
Do you recognize the design on this label?
Why, sure. That's the Condor Transglobal Shipping Company logo.
Do they have an office in Quaramonte?
No, but they ship out from here.
That's what I thought. Can you tell me anything about this stone?
That's obsidian. It's a volcanic rock which has cooled so fast that...
Yeah. Look, I'm not interested in geology.
You're not? I suppose you want to know about the carved picture on it.
That's right.
Then the guy you should talk to is the professor. He was here a while ago.
What can you tell me about the mining company?
The general closed down one of their mines after the explosion. Lots of folks lost their lives. I was lucky. I only lost my legs.
Did you see the ship with the condor flag?
No.
But the dock is just the other side of the square.
Might as well be the other side of the moon.
It was Dwayne's wife, Pearl. I hear you drove all the way to Quaramonte in a truck.
That's right. You would not believe the state of some of those roads. Makes me downright sad to think there's still some places you can't reach in an automobile. In this day and age, you'd think there'd be decent highways just about anywhere folk choose to go.
Did you know that the truck was full of explosives?
Whatever gave you that idea, as if I couldn't guess?
Your husband. He was exaggerating, wasn't he?
Sometimes I wonder how I'm gonna cope with Dwayne's over-fertile imagination.
Catch you later, Pearl. Hey, Nico!
I have done just as I have been instructed, Professor. With the mine closed down, there'll be no one around to observe your excavations. Ah, I have visitors.
Just remember what I told you, General. There's really no need to make a martyr out of that man.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting, Senor. Welcome to Quaramonte.
Thanks. My name's George Stobart from California.
But what is this? An angel come down to earth.
Nicole Collard. Enchantée, mon général.
Pardon me, senorita, but I couldn't help myself.
Look, we'd like to ask you a few questions.
You've come to the right place, senor. Tourist information. General Graciento, at your service.
What do you think of these panties, General?
Oh boy, fabuloso!
They're yours if you'll tell me all you know about Karzak.
Karzak? I never heard of him. Do I get the panties now? I told you all I know.
You told me nothing. Do you know anything about the forthcoming eclipse, General?
Such things do not interest me, senor.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
That's a native carving, isn't it? Where did you get it?
We picked it up in the market as a souvenir.
Take a look at this label.
Si, senor. Condor Transglobal.
Can you tell me where to find their offices?
No, senor. I never heard of them, and neither did Ronaldo.
Would you like a biscuit?
Are you trying to bribe me?
Well, every man has his price.
Mine is more than a dog cookie, Senor Stobart.
We've had enough of Quaramonte, and we want out.
Am I stopping you?
The guy at the docks tells me I need an exit visa.
Ask Ronaldo. He'll make the arrangements. That's what he's here for.
Who was the guy you were talking to when we arrived?
Professor Oubier. A visitor, senor, like yourselves.
Did you say Oubier?
Si, senor. Professor Oubier, a French archaeologist.
What's Oubier doing in Quaramonte?
Researching our rich and glorious past, senor. The professor is planning an expedition to some Mayan ruins. He came to see me to get an excavation permit.
Are there any ruins around the city?
Of course, Signor. Quaramonte has everything.
I have a friend who wants to visit an historical site.
Ronaldo will only be too pleased to conduct a guided tour. When he's dealt with today's paperwork, of course.
Is it true there's a restriction on music in Quaramonte?
Yes, there is. An emergency measure introduced by Nuestra Senora.
Folk music is a link with the past for some of these people. Take away their musical roots, and what do they got left?
Easy listening.
You think easy listening could replace a musical heritage hundreds of years old?
Why not? It happened in your country.
I hear there was an accident at the mine a few months ago.
That's correct.
A lot of men killed, weren't there?
A few.
30?
Barely 1% of the working population.
This is the tourist office? It says police on the sign outside.
It is both, Senor. I am a man of many parts.
I can see that, General.
Are you sure you never heard of Condor?
Oh, yes.
The company is registered here in Quaramonte City.
You are mistaken, Senorita.
The musicians out in the square say that a ship flying the Condor flag was birthed here.
They are simple peasants. They will go along with anything you say in the hopes of parting you from your money.
Condor is run by Karzak, isn't it?
Wrong again, Senor. Karzak has nothing to do with anything called Condor. Whoever he is.
Do you keep a record of companies registered in Quaramonte?
Of course, Senorita. Unfortunately, all the records were destroyed by a flash flood.
I'll be back.
The television was showing what appeared to be a low-budget soap. A tall man with long blonde hair was shouting at a woman who was naked apart from a towel. I decided to leave the television switched on. It was a computer monitor with some kind of outdated game displayed on it. I didn't have time to get sidetracked by playing computer games. A couple of special offer letters were strewn across the desk. It was General Graciento, Quaramonte's reigning slime ball. A couple of I had no need for junk mail, especially someone else's. A safe was tough. The safe was undoubtedly locked. He had the eyes of a cocker spaniel set in a face like a deflated souffle. I couldn't help wondering what had driven him to work for a man like the General. A filing cabinet stood in the corner. It was the map which the General had been
Senor. Leave that child alone.
The filing cabinet was probably... I wasn't going to try investigate... Hi, I'm George Stobart.
Hello, senor. How can I help you?
You know anything about this eclipse?
No, senor. El General keeps me in the dark about most things.
Do you recognize this statue?
Tezcatlipoca. The night wind. Take it away, senor. That stone is cursed.
Would you like a gourmet dog snack biscuit?
I would love one, senor, but I would have a problem with my teeth.
Toothache?
No, senor. If the General catches me eating on duty, he'll knock them out.
I'm trying to get out of Quaramonte.
If I had $1 for every time I heard that, I'd be able to buy back half my family.
Never mind them. What about my visa?
We don't take visa.
I didn't ask if you take a visa. I want you to give me a visa.
I can't help you, senor. I don't understand these things.
Are there any ancient pyramids near Quaramonte?
Si, senor. But it's not very impressive. It's in ruins.
That's perfect. Would you be willing to give a guided tour of the ruins?
I can't. The General would have a fit if I left all this paperwork.
I'd like to visit your prisoner.
Condemned prisoners aren't allowed visitors.
Condemned?
To death. He is to be executed. Knowing my luck, I will probably have to shoot him myself.
Amnesty International is going to hear about this. I thought Miguel was arrested for playing the wrong kind of music.
Si, senor, he was.
And that carries the death penalty?
No. You think we're crazy? While being questioned, he confessed to being an anti-government agent.
So long. Do you have a map of Quaramonte?
A map? I'm sorry, senor, but I don't.
What about the one on the wall?
Ah, that is an archaeological survey map, senor. Not suitable for tourists.
I'll be back. That man we saw talking to the general was Ubier. Didn't you recognize him?
I never met him, remember? The guy I called in Paris claimed to be Ubier, but he sounded nothing like the man in the police station. Maybe the professor really is innocent.
Nah, it's too much of a coincidence that he's here in Quaramonte. I wasn't going to try investigate.
Why did you show him the stone?
I thought maybe he might know something about it.
Well, he does now, for sure. He knows we have it.
You came on a little strong with the general.
I was merely flattering his ego, Georges. Every man has his Achilles heel.
Maybe, but that guy's weakness isn't in his foot. Did you notice that chart on the police station wall?
Yes, it looked like a map to me, but I couldn't make out the details.
Whatever it was, the general didn't want us to see it. There was nothing else. Have you met the guy who calls himself the General?
No, I haven't. Is he a real general?
I guess so. He wears a lot of medals on his chest. The wrong side of his chest. At least for any army I'd ever seen. Catch you later, Pearl.
Hola, señora.
Hi. We were wondering...
I was talking to the lady, Chico.
Hi. My name is Nicole Collard.
Concha Garcia. How can I help you, sister?
The corporation I represent is considering a major investment in Quaramonte. Your advice, as the head of an obviously successful concern, is precisely what I'm after. My assistant, Mr. Stobart, has a few questions he'd like to ask you.
Would you be interested in these panties? They look about your size.
Is that your best line, Chico?
I'm serious. They were an unwanted gift.
Put them away before you get overexcited.
Have you heard about the forthcoming eclipse?
I don't take much interest in things like that. One of the boys might know about it.
You see this? It's my lucky piece of coal.
What's so lucky about it?
I'm not sure yet.
Nice buns.
Do you recognize the icon on this label?
Condor Transglobal.
Did the company operate here in Caramonte?
Yes, they ran an old container ship, the Mayan Princess.
Can you tell me anything about this statue?
It is Tezcatlipoca, the god of death and pestilence. That fetish would be considered by many to be a bad omen.
Does this stone mean anything to you?
I think it is a spirit stone carved by a Mayan priest, no? I don't know which of their many gods it represents.
Would you like a dog biscuit?
Would you like a smack in the mouth, Chico?
Do you know Professor Ubier?
Yes. I understand he is about to embark on an archaeological expedition. He hired some equipment from me earlier today.
I overheard him talking to the general. I think they're working together.
What? If I'd known that, I wouldn't have hired out the equipment. Now, why would the general be interested in an archaeologist?
Can you tell me about the accident at the mine?
Accident? It was sabotage. Somebody wanted my mine closed down for good.
Do you have any evidence that the mine was sabotaged?
Not yet, but I'll get to the bottom of it. There'd been trouble at that mine for several months. The workforce was getting smaller every day. Someone had started a rumor among the men that the mine was cursed. Now the entire operation has been closed down.
Where's the site of the mine?
Several days upriver at a remote area known as Teoculcan.
Have you heard of a man named Karzak?
No? Who is he?
He's the reason we came to Caramonte. We think he's running a drug ring.
Well, I hope you find him, but I've never heard the name before.
Do you know who owned Condor Transglobal?
I've no idea.
It was Conchita, the owner of the mining company. It was Nico, wearing... It was a store cupboard.
Keep out of there. That's where the explosives are stored.
It was one of Conchita's posse of hunks.
Hi. Good afternoon, and welcome to Consolidated Mining. If you are planning to stay in Caramonte City, may I recommend the Consolidated Mining Experience, an interactive hands-on tour of one of our deepest mines, with talking tour guides available in 3 different languages.
A tour of a mine.
Well, this is a mining company. What else did you expect?
Do you know anything about the eclipse that's due soon?
Me? No, senor.
Do you know where I could find Senor Karzak?
No, senor.
How come you're not wearing any pants?
I feel more alert without them. Kind of perky.
And your boss doesn't mind?
She suggested it.
I had nothing else. There was nothing else I wanted. A disgustingly handsome man. I couldn't understand why the female owner had surrounded herself with men like this. The guy was working away like an automaton. Do you know anything about the eclipse?
Yes, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I heard it's going to be pretty spectacular.
It's in a few weeks' time, isn't it?
9 days.
Thanks. Ever heard of a guy called Karzak?
No.
Did you know there's an eclipse of the sun in a few weeks' time?
Yeah, Joe told me about it. He's having a party and we're all invited.
Me and the boys are dressing up as evil monks.
Yeah? Cool. Ever hear of a guy called Karzak?
No, sir.
Are you looking forward to the eclipse of the sun?
Not especially. Are you?
I don't know. I've never seen one. All I know about eclipses is that you shouldn't try to view them with the naked eye.
Please, go away and let me get on with my work.
Ever heard of a guy called Karzak?
Can't you see I'm busy? If I don't finish this stock report, the boss will be mad as hell.
There was nothing. I had no. There was nothing.
Hey, Nico!
I had nothing else I wanted to ask him. I'd asked him all I'd wanted to for now. I had no more to... There was a forlorn-looking... It was Miguel. There was a forlorn... It was Miguel. It was that suspect archaeologist, Ubier. Professor Ubier?
Yes? Who are you?
My name is Stobart. George Stobart. Take a look at this, Professor. What have you got to say about that?
Where did you get this?
Never mind that. How do you explain these withdrawals?
I left my financial affairs in the hands of my secretary.
Including the withdrawal of funds in cash from your personal account?
I trust Gwyneth implicitly.
And why Marseille? Why the very place my girlfriend was taken?
That's obvious, Stobart. We are both the victims of the same devious plot.
What plot?
I have no idea.
Do you know anything about this eclipse, Professor?
Of course. It's not the reason I'm here in Quaramonte, but I'm looking forward to seeing it all the same.
Do you see this label?
Yes. It refers to a company named Condor. What of it?
I traced that company here to Quaramonte. Do you know where I can find the offices of Condor Transglobal?
The company no longer exists. They went bankrupt recently.
I have proof that you are directly involved with Condor.
I used them as shippers to transport artifacts to a gallery in Paris. Beyond that, I have no connection with the company, which, as I said, no longer exists.
Can you identify this statue, Professor?
Oh, yes. Tezcatlipoca, the Lord of Darkness.
A Central American god, right?
A supreme deity. Tezcatlipoca means, literally, smoking mirror. There. You see the mirror shield in his left hand? The Mayans believed he could look into the mirror and see into the hearts of men. He was the wind which came howling in the night in search of victims, and victims they gave him by the thousand.
Human sacrifices?
Men, women, children, animals, anything that bled. The steps of his temple ran red with the blood of sacrifices. The Mayans have a legend that says he'll return one day. I hope I'm not around to see it.
Can you tell me anything about this stone?
Where did you get that?
This is the stone my girlfriend called you about. The stone that nearly cost Nico her life.
I assure you, I don't know what you're talking about.
Would you like a biscuit?
No, thank you.
You should, they're good. I can't get enough of these things. Have you ever employed a Central American butler or servant?
I've never employed any kind of servant, monsieur.
What are you doing in Caramonte, Professor?
Seeking Mayan artifacts. Central American history has been my life's work.
What do you know about my girlfriend's abduction?
I don't know what you're talking about.
She was invited to your mansion in Paris.
Not by me, she wasn't. I haven't been home for nearly 7 months.
Tell me about your wife, Professor.
Please, I don't want to talk about her.
You shot her, didn't you?
No! I loved Carol. She meant the world to me.
Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Yes, I know him. In fact, if it wasn't for Karzak, I wouldn't be here.
What?
He's financing my expedition.
What's your interest in the eclipse, Professor?
Oh, it's purely a layman's curiosity. History's my subject, not astronomy. But I've been fascinated by the movements of the heavenly bodies since I was a child. I wouldn't miss a total eclipse for the world.
Does the eclipse have some special significance for you?
For me? No. For the ancient Mayans, it marked the end of the 5th age.
Perhaps we should be celebrating.
Ah, no. The end of each age heralds destruction on a global scale. The 5th is the final age, ending in the total destruction of the Earth.
Do you think the general was involved with Condor?
Hell no. And if he's a general, I'm a Buddhist. No, that fella's just a mouthpiece for the real power in Quaramonte.
So the general is nothing but a puppet?
He's like Pinocchio before he met the Blue Rinse Fairy. Strictly strings and wood.
Who's pulling the strings?
His mother. Better known as La Presidenta, the dictator.
I had no more...
Hey, Nico!
I'd asked him all... I had nothing else I wanted. There was nothing else I wanted to talk. Tell me about the general. You know, the guy in charge around here.
We don't want to talk about him, senor.
How come? No one can hear you. Well, only that old goat.
In Quaramonte, we have a saying. Don't tell your old goat what you don't want your wife to know.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Go away.
Those things are gourds, aren't they?
Si.
Hey, mind the footwear, lady.
Do you have to spit like that?
Si. You think I want to swallow that crap?
What I mean is, it can't be doing your business any good. I'm sure you'd sell a lot more gourds if you didn't.
Nobody ever complained before.
Okay, I can see I'm not getting through. I wasn't gonna get anything out of the... Nuestra Senora is la Presidenta, right?
Si, senor. The First Lady of Coramonte.
I guess that's her picture I've seen on the posters, huh?
That's her. Quite a looker, no?
If you like big, middle-aged military women.
Si, senor. I do.
So, what has La Presidenta done for this country, apart from emasculating its music?
Take a look around you, senor. The splendid docks, the walk-in shopping mall. But most of all, she has brought prosperity.
Where?
For the first time in the history of Caramonte, we have an export trade. You change your mind. You want to buy cabbages after all. How many you want? 2? 3?
None.
Don't come crying to me if you die of scurvy.
He wasn't going to be any help. That guy just didn't look like...
Go away! You carry the curse of Tezcatlipoca.
Okay, I know when I'm not wanted. I had nothing else to... There was nothing else. There was nothing else. There was nothing else I wanted. There was nothing else I wanted to ask that guy.
Hey! Stay out of that cupboard.
Why don't you want the general at your party?
Because if he comes, he'll bring those damned music albums from the 70s.
Is Miguel the reason you're here?
Pretty smart, George. I was supposed to make contact with him. By the time I found him, though, he was in jail. I've been trying to figure out a way to get him out since then.
Sounds good to me. Count me in.
Good man, George. All I need is a detonator.
How come you brought a truckload of explosives but no detonator?
Call me old-fashioned, but I say packing trunks is woman's work. I left the packing to Pearl, and I can't find a darn thing. Just hope she remembered to bring my denture polish. I'd sure hate to arrive back in the States with tar on my teeth.
Did you find any evidence of Condor's drug smuggling operations?
Drugs? Hell no! Condor was a cover for the illegal export of Mayan artifacts.
So who was behind Condor Transglobal?
It was registered in the name of Edan.
Did you get the guy?
I don't think he ever existed. Edan backwards spells Nady, Spanish for nobody.
There was a forlorn look. It was The cell was vacant. Do you know where I could buy a detonator?
Did Dwayne put you up to this by any chance? Oh, I get it. This is to detonate the truckload of explosives, right?
Hey, come on, I was kidding. Did you think I was serious?
I know what you boys are like when you get together and make plans. Dwayne says he could solve all the world's problems if he had enough missiles.
Catch you later, Pearl. Hey, Nico!
I had nothing else. I'd asked him all I'd wanted to. I had no need for... The safe was
Senor.
Sorry, I forgot.
Senor.
Sorry, I forgot. There was nothing... Do you have any kind of detonating device in stock?
Sure. They're kept in that cupboard.
I don't suppose you have one spare?
I can't simply give you a device like that, no without a damn good reason.
The General has a chart in his office, which he was discussing with Ubier.
Perhaps that chart will tell us where they're heading.
Maybe, but I can't get anywhere near it while the General and his sidekick are there. I had nothing... I guess a mining company must use explosives, right?
Not in the accounts and ledger section, to my knowledge.
Hey! Stay out of that cupboard.
I had nothing... I'm looking for a detonator.
Oh my, that's dangerous. I mean, are you qualified to handle those things? I don't know how you can work with explosives. I'd be too scared of blowing myself up. That's why I work in an office. Mind you, clerical duties are not as safe as you might think. You know those things you use to remove staples? You know, staple removers?
Look, I sympathize, but I've heard enough of this crap. Do you keep detonators in the office?
I don't know. I'm new here. In fact, I started this morning. I don't have a clue what I'm supposed to be doing. Are you familiar with accounting software?
Yeah, sure. Which package are you using?
It's called Link. The guy who wrote it must be a lunatic. Every time I save a file, it plays a silly tune, and a little cartoon piglet dances across the display.
So what's the problem?
Well, none, I guess. But it's not what I'd expect from a professional accounting package.
Do you know where I could find a detonator?
Sure. The cupboard behind the boss. But she won't let you have it.
I'll use my charm.
This I gotta see.
I had nothing. There was nothing else. Could you distract the general while I took a look at that chart?
You're kidding. Did you see the way he was leering at me?
Yeah, you'd make a great snake charmer. Come on, 5 minutes is all I need.
Well, maybe. But it's your harebrained scheme. You do the talking.
My girlfriend has a favor she wants to ask you, General.
For you, my dear. Anything.
I've changed my mind.
Oh, no, you haven't. She's embarrassed about asking you for an interview, General.
An interview with me? Fabuloso!
Well, I want to write a story about you.
You hear that, Ronaldo? An exclusive glossy spread about your beloved general.
Si, Signor General.
Look after things here. I'm going back to my apartment and I don't want to be disturbed.
I'll get you for this, George Stobart.
Don't worry. If you're gone for more than a couple of hours, I'll come and get you.
A couple of hours?
No, 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 Signor. The General said nobody must see that chart.
He won't know unless you tell him.
You don't know him, Signor. He will worm it out of me as easily as he de-waxes his ear.
Okay. I'd have to get rid of him. Would you take my friend to the ruins now the General's gone?
I'd be honored, Signor.
Thanks. I'll go get her. I've made the arrangements for your visit to the temple, Pearl.
Oh, that's just great, George. Why don't you come too, honey?
I'd love to, but right now I have to save the world.
Listen, sweetie, I'm looking for an official guide to take me to the old pyramid.
For a lovely lady, I would go to the ends of the earth. For you, I will go as far as the pyramid and back. But what about your husband?
What he doesn't know won't hurt him. Let's go, Beanpole.
As Pearl and Ronaldo set out for the ruined pyramid, I prepared to search the police station. It looked like a geological survey map showing the land to the southeast of Cuaramonte City. About 60 miles inland and upstream was an area marked Teoculcan.